Okay.
Yeah, she's riding her bike. Nice job.
I'll be back.
All right, I'll turn that off.
Is Aline on yet?
I don't see her.
There's a phone number, but I don't know who the phone number is.
I don't even see you. Let's see.
I asked that person to unmute.
Huh?
Yes, good evening. This is Jeff Edwards in attendance.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, thank you, Jeff.
Sure. Still waiting for roll call, I presume?
Yeah, we're waiting for Aline.
Oh, okay.
Here she is. I just admitted her.
Lucia,
Yes.
did you hurt your hand?
No, I just washed it.
No, your
Yeah.
hand.
Yes, on my hand. I got a shot. I got a cortisone shot because I have a terrible arthritis in my thumb, and I just can't use it anymore. This is the first time in my life. And I got a brace.
Oh,
Thank you.
I saw it. I didn't know.
Yeah. I thought you said my hair, and you said my hair.
Oh, yeah, no, your hair looks like you just got back from the beach. There's Aline.
Hi, Alina. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, young Choi. Hi.
I think almost everybody's here. Oh, Cynthia's here also, but she's.
I can't hear Young if you talk.
We're all here.
So now
I think we're all here now. So I think it's like 6:03. So we'll get started officially. I'd like to start the October 15th, 2020 OAC meeting. First thing on our agenda is the roll call. So I'll do the roll call right now. Aline Villa, myself present. Cynthia Rapolco.
Here.
Charles Barney.
Here.
Lucia Castellinovo.
Here.
And I have to laugh because I can't pronounce it. Mary Lucy. Mary Lucy. Absent. Did I hear you? Mary Lucy. April Dury.
Yo.
Okay, so we're all here except for Mary Lucy. Next on agenda is the flag salute. It's not on our agenda, but it should be. I will lead. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we got our guest report. First, we have county planning. Do we have anyone from county planning? There you are, Young Choi. Welcome.
Excuse me, this is Jeff Edwards. Unless I'm mistaken, public comment for items not on the agenda is after the roll call?
You're right. Public comment for items not on the agenda.
Yeah, that's my interest this evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeff Edwards, if I may proceed.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I wanted to circle back with the advisory council on a matter that you took up at a meeting on June 18th. And that was the City of Pismo Beach's proposed Central Coast Blue test injection well project. And for those that you remember, this is really it's a permanent well that's going to be installed at the Coastal Dunes RV Park and Campground. And the construction period is going to go for anywhere, well, according to Pismo Beach, anywhere from 6 to 9 months. And so your council took action on that matter, recommended approval, and it was recently heard on September 4th at a planning department hearing. That's an administrative hearing at the county. And I participated in that hearing, as I did in your hearing back in June. And subsequent to that, at that hearing, the project was approved, I think maybe in part based on your recommendation. And I still have considerable issues with that project on a number of levels. And so I've appealed it to the Board of Supervisors, and that hearing is going to take place at 1:30 or sometime thereafter, 1:30 on Tuesday, October 20th. That's this coming Tuesday. So I'll just really close with that. And then you might want to look for a letter that I submitted. I know it's probably, I think Nick sent it to OBCA, if I'm not mistaken. And then maybe OBCA could circulate it to the council or the advisory committee members, or advisory council members. So that's all I really had. In reading my letter, you'll be able to see what it's about. And again, the hearing is Tuesday afternoon at the Board of Supervisors. And I think I'll just close with saying that the project has many impacts, many levels of impact. And from the local campground to the businesses, the hotel, for example, across the street, the Oceano Inn, during the course of this project, they may have a loss of business, likely will have a loss of business. Old Juan's Cantina, they now have outdoor dining. It's going to be kind of noisy outside. 85 dB is the noise of this drilling operation. So there's going to be business interruption. And then there's some larger philosophical or policy questions that are contained in the letter. Please take a look at that. And I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting us, for informing our council. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. I'll just attend from now on. Thank you. Or you guys leave everybody unmuted?
I don't know who's in the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, I guess he's gone. Next, do we have anybody else with comments for items not on the agenda? Doesn't look like it.
If anyone wants to comment, you can use the raise hand button if you're in the Zoom app. And if you're on the phone, it's *9. I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Okay, so do we have anyone from county planning? County court enforcement?
Mr. Choi is with county planning. Mr. Choi, did you want to give a general report?
It's audio.
Just to let you know that I will be your community advisory council.
Can't hear anything.
I'm sorry, you're unmuted, but you're breaking up, Mr. Choi.
Let's try this. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
much better.
I'll have, well, at least I'm still working on the Zoom and everything. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Young Choi. I'm with the county planning. And starting November, I will be the official community liaison for this Oceano Council here today. So I look forward to working with you all, and my apologies for having a little delay of getting the new liaison here. So just a quick introduction. I've been with the county planning for a little bit over 3 years. The past year, I've been serving as Creston Advisory Council, and I will be serving as a Creston and Oceano Advisory Council for dual for the next few months. However, I will be transitioning into just Oceano, just for you guys moving forward. I don't have any update for you today since I was just found out about this new position yesterday, but starting next month, I will definitely have some updates for you guys. And if you guys have any questions today, I'm more than happy to go back and get some questions answered. So I know we do have a new business today, so I'm happy to stay with you guys and answer any of the questions that I could answer. And if your council has any questions for the planning department, I'm here today. So thank you. I look really forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have one question. Mr. Choi, what was the other agency that you said you're also doing liaison with for a short time?
Preston.
Creston. Thank you.
Do you have an email address you want to share with us? Yeah.
Yes, I will actually email all of my contact information to your Oceano Advisory Council at Gmail so that all of you have my contact information. I'm including my phone number, email address. Yeah, I think that's good.
Thank you. I also have another question. Forgive me, a small question. As I walk the levee of the this is just of the Arroyo Grande Creek, and I get to the end of the levee, and I get to the end of the strand. There is a home at the corner who's trying to build something on the sand. And I wonder, to whom should I address my concerns if I feel like that's an abusive? That's
if you have a site address or the closest intersection of that, I will email you with my email to the Oceano Advisory Council. So email me, and I will take a look and see if the activity is permitted. If not, I will alert our
That's all.
enforcement
That's
officer.
wonderful. Thank you. So I can email you about it if I have concerns. Thank
Yes,
you.
please.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I just want to thank you, Young, for coming and letting us know. I have a lot of questions, but they're kind of specific, so I'll let you do the research.
Awesome.
I'm very excited to learn what it's all about. So I look forward to you coming soon and telling us what this project is all about. I walked it a couple of times, and it's a nice location.
I'll do my best.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting.
Sure.
Or go.
We'll see. I will try to.
Thank you so much.
Well, please stay through our a project referral that we have.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next on our list, we have the Sheriff, Commander Wells, or maybe Commander, I think it's Klinberg. I think I saw him there.
Commander's here.
I'm here.
Would you like to report?
Sure, I have a short one if that's okay.
Sure.
So for the month of September in Oceano, there was 5 collisions reported. 3 of those collisions were non-injury collisions. One was a minor injury collision, complaint of pain only, and one was a hit and run. Of those collisions, 2 of the collisions occurred on Paso Robles Street. One was at 17th. One was near, actually one was in the intersection of 17th. One was near 25th Street. And then let's see, we had one on 24th Street and Scott Lee Drive, non-injury collision there, vehicle versus a parked car. Then we had one on SR1 at Tienda Place, and then one on Palace Avenue near just south of Air Park Drive. As I said, 3 non-injury, one hit and run collision. That was a vehicle that hit a parked vehicle and then fled the scene. So we had a parked car that had some damage on it where the car hit it and then fled the scene. That was the description of the hit and run collision there. I know last month we discussed some issues on SR1 in the vicinity of Contessa Coffee, also kind of between 22nd and Paso Robles, basically that general area. We did some focused patrol there, some focused enforcement, if you will. But well, I don't know if I'm happy or sad to say. Either way, we didn't write any citations during the focus time that we were there. That doesn't mean we didn't write any citations for the month in September in that area, but during the focus time, we didn't have any citations. So anyway, yeah, that's sort of a push me, pull me. We want to say that we were able to, you know, maybe do some education there, but also maybe that's a good report that, you know, people were minding their P's and Q's as they drove through that area this month. So with that, I don't have anything further, but I'm certainly available for any questions that you might have.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here again, Captain Commander.
Sure, no problem. Greg is fine too. That's okay.
Hey, Greg. Okay. Coming west on Highway 1, when you get to approaching the Central Market, that's where 30-mile-an-hour zone starts.
Okay.
And next time you're cruising there, the deal is that 30-mile-an-hour sign is hidden behind a huge Chinese elm tree.
Okay.
So you can't see it until it's like,
sure.
Well, you really, when it comes into view, you're basically so close to it that you're focused on the street in front of you and your peripheral vision's not even going to pick it up. On the other side of the street is the 45-mile-an-hour sign going east where you can pick up your speed.
I see.
I think that, so for most folks, the only sign you see is down there at the turn where you've got the 30-mile-an-hour, like going around the turn thing.
Yeah.
So I think to get that first 30-mile-an-hour sign, the visual of it up for people to be able to see, like, 25 yards away could be helpful. And I don't think you guys do tree trimming, or who's responsible for that, but I bet you could rattle somebody's chain on it.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Because that's on SR1. Because it's on the state route. Yeah, I can call Caltrans and have them look at that. And we can, yeah, that may even prompt, well, yeah, I can certainly talk to them and we can, I'm sure that we can easily get that cleared.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. What else?
That's it.
I just have one question. I'm just curious. Did you catch that hit and run?
No, we did not. We don't even have, on that collision, we don't have a license plate of the suspect vehicle. We don't have, we have no information. What I know is that the owner of the parked car came out and found damage to their car that had happened overnight. I'm sorry, actually it happened during the day. I take that back. It happened during the day, and they came and they noticed that there was damage to their vehicle and there was no other vehicles around. And there was nothing left as far as debris or evidence that we could take to sort of identify the car that had done that. All we had was a damaged parked vehicle. So.
Okay.
I saw that a pedestrian was hit by a car on Paso Robles Street about a month ago. Do you have any information on that?
Ooh, pedestrian. Do you? I certainly can look it up. Do you have like maybe a closer date, or for sure was it in the month of September?
I just looked it up. I just Googled it. It was September 14th.
And it was pedestrian that was struck?
Looks like the sheriff's office was investigating, so maybe.
Okay, yes, I do remember. Okay, yeah, we were called to that along with the sheriff's department, and that was not a collision. That was determined to be some type of incident that resulted in an intentional act between somebody who was walking. It was actually an alley just to the north of Paso Robles Street. And there was an incident that occurred there, and because the sheriff's department ultimately ended up handling that, incident. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I just know that initially we were called because there was a car versus a pedestrian there, but that they were determined that there was some other type of crime that occurred there, and that was not a collision. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I don't have more answers for you on that.
Thank you, Commander.
Okay.
Look forward to having you next
I
month.
look forward to being here. I appreciate all of your time. Thank you.
All righty. Do we have any public comment for any of the guest reports?
Hold on just a second. A couple of people are waiting to be admitted. So let me let them in. One of them is Mary Lucy. So maybe you want to ask that again, Chair Villa.
Okay. Do we have any public comment for items do we have any public comment for the guest reports?
So you can raise your hand if you want to comment under participants if you're on the computer, or use *9 if you're on the phone. And I am not seeing any raised hands.
Maybe Mary Lucy's just here as she decided to join. Are you present, Mary Lucy?
I only see a video for her.
I don't see
Hello.
her.
I can't hear anything.
I think I heard her say hello.
I only see a video icon for her. I don't see a microphone icon, so maybe she doesn't have it hooked up.
I actually been here trying to get on for the last 10 minutes.
Actually,
I hear her now.
I see the
Okay.
phone.
So we can let the record reflect that Mary Lucy is present.
Yes.
Mary Lucy, would you like to comment?
No, thank you.
Okay. So next on our agenda here are the presentations, review. Do we have anyone with any presentations?
No presentations.
Next on our list, we have review and approval of the minutes. If you haven't had time, can you take a couple of 30 seconds or so and review the minutes and have motion someone to approve the minutes?
I move that the minutes be approved as circulated.
Okay, Charles moves it. Any second? I'll second. It's been moved and second. All those that approve?
Discussion?
Go ahead, Charles.
No, I asked for discussion if there was any. I don't hear any.
No.
And
So-
someone has their hand raised. Do you want to take public comment on the minutes?
Okay, public comment on minutes. Go ahead.
I just asked the phone number to unmute.
Something in my throat.
I think they're still muted. I'm not sure if it's like 873.
I've clicked ask to unmute several times.
That's
And there's
Jeff
that-
Edmonds, 873.
812.
The number ending in 812. Go ahead and speak.
No, it said the host asked me to unmute.
Because your hand is raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not raised now.
Okay. I see no one wanting to make public comment.
Okay, so all those that approve the minutes signal with an eye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes passed, approved. Next, we have the business items. We have new business, the
I'm
project,
sorry, Director Villa, you didn't ask for
public comments.
extensions on that, and Ms. Lucy was not present, so I believe she would need to abstain on the minutes unless you watch the video later.
Okay, Mayor Lucy, you want to abstain?
Am I still unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. No, I did watch the minutes. I did watch the meeting, and I have no opposition. I assume I'm still a committee member, so I'm in favor of passing the minutes.
Okay.
But I don't know if I am a committee member still or not.
As far as I know, you are.
Thank you.
So minutes passed and approved. Business items, we got the new business, the project summary referral for the Gutierrez project, which is what Young spoke about. Emmy sent the email saying she was sending him as the representative for this project from now on. So she's not here. So that's taken care of. Dismissing Mary Lucy for unexcused or non-attendance while she's here.
I'm sorry, Director Villa, don't we still need to address that referral?
I'm
Well,
here to
sure,
answer
but
any
I thought-
questions regarding the Gutierrez project. If your council has any question, if I could answer them, I will answer for you. If not, I will take it back to our project manager or the applicant to address any issues or concerns you may have. So I'm here.
I have a lot of questions, but I thought that you needed to do your homework still on most of the.
I'll take all the questions and concerns and get back to you guys by next month.
Okay.
Yeah. And if there are any questions that I cannot answer, I will invite the applicant to answer any questions for you as well. So
Okay.
I'll at least write down all the questions for you.
Looking at the plans, I liked them, but I had a hard time. I guess I'm not good at reading all the architectural planning there. How many residential apartments are going to be upstairs and the businesses downstairs? Do you know what type of businesses?
I'm not sure what type of business it is. I'm looking at the site plan upstairs. I only see one unit with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And the first floor, I believe, will be a commercial business, not yet determined, but I will bring that question to the applicant and see if he has any tenant in mind for this business.
Okay. Well, those are the 2 main questions that I had. How many residential areas upstairs and also downstairs, how many businesses and what type of business? Does anybody else have any questions? Mary Lucy?
I don't have so much a question, but a comment on it, a positive one. I think this has been a lot that has been a sort of eyesore and been pretty problematic at times over the past many years, a lot of code complaints and stuff. So I'm really glad that it's being developed. I think the design elements are very much in conformity with the Oceano revitalization architecture recommendations. I look forward to it being a positive, addition to the community. I think that, in terms of just looking at the commercial space, it could be used for a whole lot of different things. So I don't even know if that's in our purview so much to be asking what the content is any more than it would be asking who's going to rent the place up above. So that's my comment and my appreciation for it.
Cynthia?
I have no questions.
It seems like Lucia was locked out or something happened. She wants to be let back in.
Okay, I just admitted her again.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, Aileen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I too, I think it's great that that lot is being developed. I still have some concerns about the traffic and pedestrians walking back and forth across the highway. So that would be my only concern, and also street lighting is a big issue, whether people believe in street lighting or not. It's a public safety issue, and so I think that it really lacks street lighting, and so those are just my two comments. What they commercially do with their buildings is really not, I think the gentleman stated that he was going to put his car shop downstairs or something, or his museum or something, I don't know. But that's his business, and so I think the one unit upstairs is, what was the square footage on that? 535, I think?
Total size for the upstairs bedroom is 1,140 square feet apartment with 168 square feet of deck on the second floor. So 2-bedroom, 2 bath.
Okay, well, yeah, that's much larger than I thought. So yeah, I think that that's fair. That's good size. So I have no concerns about the upstairs, but just the street lighting and public safety for pedestrians.
Excuse me, you mentioned, are you done, Mary Lucy? You mentioned that the man putting a store on the bottom, like cars, but wasn't that another project across from the highway from Quintessa? This is a different project, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
This is
Yeah.
this is on Paso Robles and 15th. It's a corner lot there, and it's fenced off and it's covered. It's right across
Right.
the Melodrama.
And this
Yeah,
is on,
no, I'm talking about the same project as you are. I just
Okay.
misspoke on what he planned to do.
okay. And is this just one building, right? 2 stories?
Yes, 1 2 stories building, second floor being the residential apartment unit, first floor being the commercial office space is what I see on the project description.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it. As concerns, Mary Lucy's concerns are correct.
So if I may, I do have a little bit of update on this project since you guys first received the submittal. When we first referred to you, they were little items that did not meet the Oceano design guidelines, and we had asked the applicant to come back with that. And the applicant did come back with a lot more details of the design, so I think it looks way better with a lot more details, such as stucco. And the applicant has also agreed to match the existing Melodrama's landscaping to his property so that it looks nice. So I will share that new site plan with you all. But I think overall that I think the second submittal, I think definitely looks better and meets more of the Oceano design guideline. Also incorporates the nearby landscaping. So I'll definitely send that off to you for your recommendation if you are able to make them next month.
Would you like to share
And-
your screen? Do you have something you could show us right now?
I can. Give me 1 second.
I have that screen sharing's disabled.
I just enabled it.
Okay.
I don't see an option to share my screen. I know if you wouldn't mind upgrading me to the co-host, I would be able to, I believe.
Okay. I don't see a way to make you the co-host, just the host, but
Or I could email you this plan set to
I'll
you.
go ahead and do that, and then just switch it back when you're done.
Oh, there, okay. There we go, share screen.
Oh, nice.
Is this the right time to ask a question?
For the project, yes. Can you see the screen right now?
Yes.
No,
Oh, no, yes, no.
Yes.
no,
Yes.
I'm on phone, so I wouldn't be able to see it. Did the architect even take into consideration pedestrian and street lighting at all?
So I will double check about the street lighting, but as you can see here, one of the requirement for this area is curb, gutter, and sidewalk, which does include the sidewalk as part of the project.
Good.
And I will double check with Public Works to make sure that if there are any street lighting standard, it would be part and required by just our regular ordinance to put in street lighting certain feet from each other. So I will definitely double check on the street lighting for you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So this is the site plan, and as you can see, this is the melodrama area, and this is where the site will go to. There'll be parking spaces here. Part of the back lot over here will remain undeveloped for now, and if there are future development, most likely will require additional use permit because we are in a coastal zone. I'm ready to show you the floor plans if you guys are ready.
I'm sorry, I thought the coastal zone was pretty much just west of Highway 1. Does it extend there as well?
No, I will double check on this one real quick. I believe this one still does require a coastal development permit. But
Cynthia, I think you are correct on that. That once we're east of Highway 1, we're still in the zone, but we don't have to necessarily go through the Coastal Commission.
So here, this is the first floor retail, commercial office space that is being mentioned. 2 restrooms are proposed. They just have as a lease space as 1. And then this would be going upstairs to the 2nd floor, which is the apartment. So here is the deck area, dining and living. Here's a bathroom 1, bathroom 2, and 2 bedrooms are right here. This is, like I mentioned, a total about 1,140 square feet.
Where's the parking for the residents?
Sure, I will go back to the first right here. So there are total 6 parking proposed, including 1 ADA space on the same lot.
Okay.
I'm just going to skip the roof plan. This is a roof. So this is the elevation drawing, but I think it might be more fun to see this elevation with the different detail and the color that will be going on the site. Again, I am going to forward this document to you so you can take a good look. Some of the stucco has been added in place of just regular paint. Awning, light fixtures are also added, and they'll be utilizing metal roof on there.
Do we still have a moment to ask a couple more questions since I don't have the updated plan in front of me. I apologize.
Yes, go ahead.
So how big is the commercial square footage on that?
The commercial pretty similar. I have that information here. Oops. Commercial space would be about 1,276 square feet.
Okay, and so you mentioned the 6 parking spaces and -1 for ADA requirements, right?
ADA requirement is part of the 6 parking spaces proposed, yes.
So there's actually 5 parking spaces.
5 plus 1 ADA, yes.
Okay, and that includes residential?
So residential units do not trigger ADA. The commercial unit is the one that's triggering the ADA requirement.
I understand that. My question is the residential parking folded into those 6?
Yes, into the total parking area, it is folded in altogether.
Okay, so you're saying that let's not count. I mean, we can count the one disabled spot, which as a person with disabilities, I think that's not enough, but but whatever. But 6 parking spaces for a commercial and a residential, that's a 2-bedroom, right? So you have say you have 3 cars in a 2-bedroom apartment, and typically we're looking at more cars, but I'm being conservative. And then you have a commercial building, which leaves 3 parking spots for them, and their employee is probably most likely going to take one of those spots, or they're going to take a neighborhood spot. So I don't know if you can squeak out a couple more parking spots, but I don't think that's enough parking for commercial business and a residential. So say, for example, the residential's running during the day. I mean, the commercial's running during the day. They only have 3 parking spaces because they have at least 1 employee. And the people who live there pay the rent, come home, and there's no place for them to park.
So in most of our mixed use projects, they require some type of a shared use parking. So one of the projects that I processed in different community required that the residences may not be able to park Monday through Friday during the business hours. And that's how we kind of regulate the parking spaces in between the 2 different uses. And second, this parking the number of parking spaces does meet the minimum parking required. So I could definitely ask the applicant if they could add more parking spaces, but they currently do meet the requirement parking spaces. But I will definitely forward your concern to the applicant and see what I hear back.
And who defined how many parking spaces? So if a resident comes home during the day who pays rent, they're not going to have a place to park. So
the number of parking spaces are determined by the square footage of each uses, and it's part of our building code.
So it would be under the Planning Commission?
No, it's part of our building code. So it's California Building Code. So I believe it's the state that determines the minimum number of parking and minimum number of ADA parking.
Yeah, I just see that to be that's going to be an issue for people in the neighborhood, because they're going to end up parking on the street. There's not going to be enough parking for the residents on the street, and the plan will have already gone through, and the people will be basically out. So if you could, really strongly encourage them to at least add 2 more spots, because I would not pay.
I'm not sure that the
I-
entire council shares
I
this
would not pay,
perspective, but I
excuse me,
think
I'm
we should
talking.
move on.
Excuse me, I'm still at the floor. I personally would not pay for a high-end 2-bedroom, 2-bath house that did not, I mean, upstairs, that did not have a designated parking place. And you know that they're going to get a good amount of rent for that. So, I mean, it's just, you know, why try to eliminate the problems before they occurred?
Okay.
I think if the
So now-
parking meets the minimum requirements, then that's fine. And Ms. Lucy, perhaps you should work on changing the law if that's a concern you have.
Okay. Is that it, Mary Lucy?
Yeah, I was interrupted, so yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so you can, Mr. Young, you could take that down as a recommendation. If they accept it, well, all the better. And if not, we tried.
One thing to note, there will be a good amount of vacant spaces on the back. I wouldn't say it's a parking space, but it would be a space available, additional parking if needed.
It is a corner lot, so yeah.
And
Well, that was my question. I have my hand raised.
right here that I mentioned about will remain undeveloped.
Is there, my question, Mr. Choi, on that is like, well, what could it be developed as? I mean, is there sufficient space for there to be another accessory dwelling unit, or is it just kind of a dead space? And if it is, to at least have it finished off to where, if it isn't formal parking, it can be informal parking, would be of benefit, and maybe not, you know, any big additional expense.
So that was the one thing that our planner did raise a question on, what the undeveloped space would be, and the answer we got was that it will remain undeveloped. However, I will take in all of your consideration that perhaps it could be an unofficial overflow parking lot until a new proposal comes back to you.
That would be great, because it is an empty lot that's kind of an eyesore.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions?
No, I think what they've done here is going to look great, especially when they're integrating with the look of the melodrama as well as their landscaping. It's going to be a nice addition.
I do too. Thank you, Mr. Young, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, so do you want me to come back next month with this project one more time?
If you have significant updates, if you don't have to repeat the same report. If there's significant updates, of course, we would love to see them.
I don't expect any significant update. We are.
You did mention that you're going to be serving as our liaison with the planning department. So we would much appreciate it if you could attend each monthly meeting.
Oh, yes, that's
Give us
part of
an
my
update
leave
on
from
what's
top.
going
Yes, is to attend every meeting as much as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have it on my calendar for the third Wednesdays every month. So it'll be my job to attend this meeting.
Third Thursdays.
Yeah,
Actually.
Thursday. Sorry, today Monday was holiday, so I'm still catching up my days.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know, so aside from this project, I did have one little question for your council. I see in the old business, there are some, a lot of planning related items. I did not have time to go back to your meeting to listen to these concerns, but I'll definitely go back on your YouTube channel and see what I could answer or bring back to your concern regarding the vacation rental density in Oceano. And if there are any coastal commission updates for that, I know Mr. Jansen, who was serving as a kind of your liaison for the dunes, he retired a few weeks ago. We're not quite sure who's taking over the dunes part of that, but I will do my best to see if I could get any update for your council next month.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any public comment for this project? The Gutierrez project?
If anyone would like to comment, please go to participants at the bottom of your screen and raise your hand. Or if you're on the phone, it's *9. I don't see any hands raised.
Just a quick comment, Madam Chair, to Mr. Choi.
Go ahead.
I think to be helpful to you, Mr. Choi, some of these items that you're referring to under old business, like some of them we have some correspondence around, or we have some communications. And for example, Mr. Uri has, well, we've done quite a bit of go back and forth on the parking on Pier Avenue. And I think that correspondence would be very helpful to you to just kind of get some background on it. I can send you some stuff about vacation rentals, a little bit of stuff we've looked at there. I mean, you know, I mean, I can send you 4 feet of documents for the Oceano Dunes ODSBRA issue. So we'll see if we can help you out between now and the next meeting.
I would greatly appreciate that, Charles.
And please feel free to reach out to our chair, and she can definitely forward anything to us, or you're certainly welcome to reach out to me directly.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Next topic.
What happened to Aline?
Can you hear me?
You there? Yeah?
Okay, I don't know where my picture went. It stopped for a second and my picture disappeared. But anyways, next on our agenda here is dismissing Mary Lucy for unexcused non-attendance.
Okay.
Would someone like to start that discussion?
I submitted a list of topics or pertinent that I think are information or holes in the bylaws that I think should be addressed. And that's my initial start of this topic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many meetings did Miss Mary Lucy miss? 2? Without explanation?
Correct.
Correct. Well, I would like to hear Mary Lucy. Why did she know? Why, Mary Lucy, didn't you attend the meetings and didn't let us know? Were you sick? Were you abroad?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I was in the hospital for one of those meetings, and so I apologize. My mind was not on contacting you. It was trying to stay alive, and so that's the most I can disclose at this point. They were all medically, both of them were medical.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess, Mary, that your intent is to stay, remain a participating and active member of the advisory council. Is that correct?
Well, first of all my volunteer activities I take very seriously.
Mhm.
And sometimes, you know, I usually don't miss meetings. I have when I sat on OCSD for 8 years, I think I missed 2 meetings in 8 years. I have a very good track record in showing up to work every day for 40 years. So it, you know, I take my responsibilities seriously. But if it's the will of this board, you know, it's entirely up to you. I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, I didn't sign up for this committee to be beat up all the time. I'm sorry I could not physically call or send an email because I was sick. I had pneumonia. I was in the hospital, and I get my medical care in Los Angeles. So I'm sorry it wasn't a priority at that point. But this hasn't been one of my, you know, usually I really like to work in group settings. I was hoping to be able to work with this group. I clearly see that, you know, I'm the odd person out, and I've been the odd person out before. I'm sorry that people took my physical appearance as intimidating on a Zoom call. You know, and that's why I'm on the phone, so you don't have to look at me. So I don't know what else to say, you know, is that I take my responsibilities serious. I follow through. But if you want to dismiss me or fire me or whatever you want to, terminate me from the committee, you know, that's entirely your choice.
I'm sorry you were so sick, Mary Lucy, sincerely. And are you well now?
It's getting better. You know, my medications have gone from 10 a day down to 6 a day, so I do think I am getting better.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
Well,
I do appreciate that.
yeah.
So Mary Lucy, I can speak for myself. I won't speak for all the council because they can speak for themselves, but it is never been my intention to beat anybody up. And I do not feel intimidated by you personally if you're nice to me. And I think you are a very responsible person. You demonstrated it with your life and with your commitment to Oceano. So I am not wanting to kick you out or, you know, in any way throw you out of the council whatsoever. I do think we need to clear up the language in our bylaws. And you being sick, if you were legitimately sick, well, that's a legitimate excuse. You were only absent twice.
Yeah.
I did reach out to you, so my conscience is clear when it comes to that part. And I don't want you to feel like I don't like you, because I feel kind of right now, I feel neutral to you, you know. I'm not going to say I really like you, but I'm not going to say I dislike you at all. It's not my personality to dislike anyone when I don't really know them that well. I respect you, I can say that. And I wish you a quick recovery, because I know it's awful to be sick, especially with pneumonia.
Thank you.
I'll share. I welcome everybody to this advisory council, you know, that is interested in serving and participating, and having, as far as I knew, Mary, that you kind of went dark for 2 months and we never heard anything from you. As far as I knew, no, there was no communication with the chair. And I did know that she had reached out to you and I think didn't get a response. So I think just as a matter of, and I certainly, you know, when you're acutely ill and in the hospital, yeah, I understand you're not, high priority is not sending us an email that you're not going to make the meeting. But in the 60 days that have transpired, I'm sure there was, I mean, I think just out of a courtesy to send a note to the chair that you've been ill, that you're looking forward to returning and participating would be useful. I don't think our bylaws were ever set up to, you know, summarily dismiss anybody who was, you know, had an illness and was still interested in maintaining their position. But you can see that the kinds of things that we're taking on require kind of a higher level of commitment from the participants. And we're limited to the number of people that we can have. And so of course we want to have people who are active and involved. And I too am sorry for your illness, and I hope that you have, you know, your recovery accelerates. And I've certainly been on that side of the fence myself, so I can empathize with you.
And Charles, I'd just like to add too is that, you know, there was 10 days where I had no idea what day it was. Mm-hmm. I also have a disease called Lipid's dystrophy, where the fatty tissue actually starts to collect around my lungs and my heart. So it's hard for, you know, when you're halfway in a medically induced coma, it's hard to keep track of what day, month. I missed my granddaughter's birthday. You know, it wasn't intentional, of course, but I had no idea what day it was. Mm-hmm. And all as I could think about was taking my next breath.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't intentional towards the committee or the work the committee does. I've always wanted this committee to be a high functioning committee, you know, and it appears that it's starting to take on issues that are relevant to Oceano. You know, I felt that we all as humans get sidetracked once in a while and go off in a different direction, and it's up to all of us to pull us back, you know. But I do think that there is, you know, some good work being done in this committee. So you guys decide what you want from me.
Well, tell us what you want to do, Mary Lucy. Do you want to remain in the council, or do you want to, or you wouldn't mind? But do you want to stay?
Well, Lucia, I'm trying not to be sharp, and I'm trying not to, you know, respond off the cuff. But I did make an attempt to be on this call today. Yeah. You know, still sick. I think that shows my interest in the committee. Otherwise, I just would have let it fall to the wayside or sent you a letter. So I'm not quite sure what you're looking for from me, other than to say I think that this committee does good work. I work best in group settings, you know, and that hasn't been the case with this committee, but I'd be happy to, you know, keep trying. So I'm not sure what you want me to say is, like, I think it's clear, abundantly clear, being in the situation that I'm coming out of, that I am on this call. So yes, I would like to be on this committee, but it's your call. You put it on the agenda.
Yeah, you want to be here. No, that's what I wanted to hear. And you said it. You want to be on this committee. So let's look at the bylaws to make it, to get going. And I'm looking at the paper that April sent, number 5.
Does everybody have it? Can we confirm everybody's got a copy of it?
Do you have it? I have it. It was in my email.
Right, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page before we start the conversation, that's all.
Okay.
Do you have it, Lucy?
I
What's
have
your,
it.
Yes,
Okay.
what's your first name, Mary or Lucy?
it's Mary.
Mary. Mary, do you have the paper?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone has it? Because the paper says, and it brings up a good question. April brings up a very good suggestion. I'm not looking at the whole thing, just at this one. In the event a council member consistently fails to attend OAC meetings. Now, and just research, he says, consistently, what does that mean? It needs to be quantified, because we really have no argument until we know what consistently means, right? So we need to decide that. We need to decide that has Mary Lucy consistently missed, failed to appear? We don't know, because we don't know what consistently means.
Exactly.
I would like to suggest consistently mean 3. I like 3 strikes, you're out. And I would like it, I suggest that that be what we
Okay,
put in for consistently 3 consecutive meetings.
In a row, so you could miss January, February, and April, and then you could miss July, August, and October. So
yeah.
long as they're not in a row.
Excuse me, if I might
Go ahead,
interject,
Cynthia.
I know many of you weren't on the council when the bylaws were last revised, but it was determined to leave this indefinite, kind of a we'll know it when we see it sort of thing. And amending the bylaws is not on the agenda tonight. It was specifically the item concerning Mary Lucy. And what I'm hearing from everyone who's spoken is that in view of her circumstances, while we would have appreciated some notice at some point, or when she was able to come up for air, letting us know, hey, sorry, I was sick and I missed the meetings and I'll be at the next one. It would be good to have that sort of communication, but I'm not hearing that anyone at this point wants to invoke any part of the bylaws to try and throw her off the council. Is that a correct understanding?
Correct, on my part. Is
I
there
don't think we're in violation when we don't even know what violation is. So that answers the question on my end.
So we should put this on an item, on agenda item for next, as soon as we can.
future
Well,
agenda items?
Future.
If that is the case, I think we could dispense with this particular agenda item for tonight. It took the council many months to
Yes.
revise the bylaws the last time, and opening them up is a can of worms, I can tell you that. So unless there's a really good reason to do it, I would advocate against going through another bylaws revision at this point, because we did have it not very long ago, maybe a year ago.
Well, when we can see the flaws in them, this is just my suggestion, when we can see the flaws in them on one tiny little issue of 2 meetings missed, and we see these flaws, addressing these flaws will help us in the future the next time this comes up, when we have quantifiable information in which to make a good decision. We don't just have, as I use an example, a handbook where we say, if you don't show up, you get fired. Well, how many times? What does it take? What are the parameters? And if the bylaws are our governing body and they're unclear, how are we governing ourselves?
Can I say something?
Sure.
I don't see, I think that one, I agree with Cynthia that doing a bylaw modification is cumbersome, and it really shouldn't be done more than once, maybe once every 2 years, you know. But in the meantime, I think that maybe a list could be kept as to areas that need to be revisited. But until then, I think that you could adopt the Brown Act rules, which says 3 consecutive meetings.
Excuse me. Yes, I hear you, Mary. Are you done?
Yes.
Well, can't we decide to address only one item? We don't have to reopen the entire bylaws document, just this item. Even if it takes half of a meeting, just this item. What define the word consistently. That's it. And then when the next item of confusion comes up, we will address that. I agree with April. We need to have some bylaws that are, I mean, that give us really some direction. And I also hear you people that said that it's very difficult. I know, I watched you go through the bylaws and trying to redo them. But if we can address only that item, because that's the item that we needed to have clear now, because it came up. So we revisit only that item.
Wait, Charles has his hand up. I'm sorry, I hope you haven't had your hand up for too long, Charles. I just noticed it now.
My arm is exhausted from holding it up for so long.
Just so you know, I'm doing the minutes over on my left side, and on the right side is the screen that has the raised hand thing on it. So
I can use my voice. You know, I'm trying. My recollection is that the language of, you know, 2 unexcused absences was, I think, purposefully left with some wiggle room, so it wasn't just like, okay, you've missed 2 meetings, that's it. And there wasn't an intention to try and, you know, gotcha kind of thing. But and I you know, and I think April brought up, you know, a good point. And I agree with Lucia that this would be a pretty easy fix. And I think that it should be a fix that gives a little more clarity and still gives us some flexibility. And so I would.
Sorry, were you done, Charles?
So I would support looking at or how can I put it, entertaining a proposed change to the bylaws of this part for clarification purposes.
Okay, the agenda item we're on right now is whether or not to dismiss Mary Lucy.
Right.
If we want to take on opening up bylaws, we should discuss that at the end in future agenda items.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So we'll put that in future agenda items. And the dismissal of Mary Lucy, I'd like to motion that Mary Lucy, that we accept her, that she remain on the advisory council.
I second it.
All those in favor?
I,
On the current bylaws, aye.
All those opposed or abstained?
I'm going to vote no.
Okay. So let the record reflect just 1 no. Mary Lucy.
And I would like to say, let's please talk in future agenda items about whether we want to revise the bylaws. I don't think we've put that to bed, but this just isn't the right point to talk about it.
Okay, future agenda.
Eileen, may I ask that my personal name be pulled off that when you revisit your bylaws?
what?
Because there are other people too who get sick. there are other people too that have, you know, things that go on in their life.
I understand what Mary's saying.
So
It's,
to use me as the example is,
The poster child, you mean? No, we won't do that. Your name's not going to be included anywhere. Come on, Mary Lucy.
so
We're
we
not
would
that
say
mean.
board- We would just say board member and not any particular name of any sort from here on out. That makes sense, totally.
That's just wrong.
I'm sorry, for the minutes, Charles, was it you that seconded that motion?
Yes, it was, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Okay, we resolved that issue. Next, we got the website management on our list here.
That was my item. I think at this point, my understanding is we don't have anybody who is responsible for managing the website or keeping it updated. I mean, just like if we change our post office box, who's going to change the address on the website? So I'd just like to have a little discussion about that, because I think it's important that we maintain our website as an updated resource for the community. And if that means we need to hire somebody, pay somebody a stipend to do it, then I think that you know, that's something that should be in play.
Okay.
The Oceano Association also is looking for somebody to do its website.
I have my hand up when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So how would you propose paying for this?
Out of our,
If we were to get a site coordinator, a website, you know, person to upgrade it, how would we pay for this?
we have a budget.
Yeah, well, is the budget inclusive of website management?
As far as I know, the budget's inclusive of anything we want to do with it to improve our ability to communicate with the public within reason.
Right. And you're trusting that our supervisor is going to continue to fund this body?
I'm not trusting Lynn Compton, but I'm trusting the Board of Supervisors. They're the ones that created advisory councils, and I think that they expect them to serve their purpose, and they know that, especially in a time of pandemic, that we need more resources to support that function.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly, Charles, but I don't think they did this out of the kindness of their heart. It is a state mandate that they must have advisory bodies in each jurisdiction. So it is a state law. Now, it's not a state law on how much money they put into
Then
it.
why did you ask if Compton is going? Why did you ask is Compton going
Breaking up, Lucia.
to finance
Why would I ask
this
that
in the
question?
future?
Because
Yes,
I've lived in this community since before she became supervisor. I see what she funds in her other advisory body, and I have zero trust that another advisory committee might pop up and she might decide to fund that advisory committee. So I do not trust our supervisor.
My goodness.
Now, we're all hoping that, you know, when after the census that redistricting occurs and we get moved into hopefully large area, which will give us a state advocate, you know, but I no, I don't have any faith in Lynn Compton. I'm sorry. You guys might feel differently, but
Well,
I don't have
Mary,
anything.
I think let's just kind of pull this back into the issue of we don't have anybody to manage the website right now.
Right.
And we can, I mean, we can look for a volunteer. We can look for somebody that we pay a stipend to. I mean, I'm not thinking a big amount of money, maybe like $50, you know, I don't know, $50 a month or whatever. I mean, I don't know, but I'm interested in having an updated website, and maybe if we're all in agreement on that as just sort of the starting point, then the question of, well, then how do we go about making that happen then becomes kind of the action plan.
So Charles,
Okay.
we've been looking for a volunteer to do this for a long time since Becca left, and nobody stepped up to it. One thing I would suggest is if we could get somebody to overhaul the website, because it's pretty outdated the way it's set up. You know, somebody just to reformat it and get it looking modern. I have used Wix, which is the platform that the OAC website is on for my campaign. So I have familiarity with that platform. And if it was modernized, I would be able to make some minor updates on a volunteer basis, but I don't feel like I can start that with it in its current condition. So, you know, it might be possible to just get somebody for a short project to get it in shape and the way that we want it, and automate things as much as possible. So if it's not me, it's easy for people to like plug in things from Google Docs or somewhere. So that might be a way to go too.
I have this idea. Anytime we need something, I'm thinking Cal Poly. I'm sure there must be somebody in the computer science department that needs to do some extra credit work. And Charles, you like this? You want to do this? Reach out to the department. Can you see me?
Yeah.
And see if you contact a professor and see if, and tell them that we need somebody and extra credit, community service. I don't know. That's what we did for our Nick for the association did with the planning department, and we had great results. So maybe that's a venue.
Chair Via, April has her hand raised.
Go ahead, April.
Thank you. First off, we never took public comment on the prior issue item on the agenda. So that's first. And then second, I would like us to address the fact that on the bylaws on page 6, it says no part of the funds of the OAC will benefit or be distributable to its members, other private citizens, or organizations. With council approval, the OAC may pay reasonable compensation for services rendered. But it clearly states no private citizens, organizations, or members in our bylaws that we don't want to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we can't pay people for services though.
Right. I just read what it said.
We pay for bank accounts and
right, those are agents.
So I mean, this would just be paying somebody for services.
Right. So if they're a business who does that, absolutely that's within the bylaws. But if they're a private citizen, like I have a friend Jim who said, I know how to use a computer, I'll fix this. That's a private citizen, that's not his business, what he does for a living, and our bylaws seem to contradict that ability. That's all I'm trying to point out.
I see.
And again, we didn't take public comment on the last issue.
And is it, am I interrupting anybody?
No.
Also to the members of the committee, you know, I know that I would be happy to make a donation towards that. Keeping it updated, if we gathered all the changes together and then got somebody in, you know, I would be happy to make a contribution, and maybe others on the committee would be you know, feel that it's very, very important to reach the community and also would, you know, make, you know, contributions. I mean, we could sell lemonade and cookies.
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with Cynthia on updating it and making it more user friendly so that people can go in there and, you know, just use it in a friendlier, easier manner. So I would be going for what Cynthia was saying with the Wix, because I've been on her website for her campaign and I found it very modern and very user friendly.
Okay, so who's gonna do that? Fine.
Well, I would volunteer to do some research on a Wix consultant and report back to you all in terms of what I find, what their estimated cost would be to bring it up to standard. And because my technical knowledge of this kind of stuff is pretty close to, like, on a 1 to 100 scale, like around a 5.4, that I would need somebody to be, you know, kind of coach me or help me understand what I need to be asking about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there are people on the council that can assist me with that.
Good, thank you, Charles. Reach out to Cal Poly.
You know,
I would volunteer.
Working with college students is kind of a challenge in terms of their consistency and commitment.
Yeah. And maybe excuse me, the COVID, and now maybe it's not the right time. Go ahead, Lucy.
But yeah, that may be a possibility.
Charles, Melanie's the one who told me about Wix and that it's an easy to use platform. So she might have some ideas about somebody who could help out with that.
Okay, great. I'll check with her.
Maybe she could. I think she does that for her business.
Okay.
And Charles, if you accept the invitation, I would be happy to help you seek out somebody as well. I actually know a couple people who do web page design, and I think that they would be willing to step forward.
I think
Really up to you.
but and it's in a Wix platform now. OAC's in a Wix platform, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think one of the last things Becca did was like pay for the hosting for another year. So we've still got time left on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you, Charles.
Thank you very much. Great.
We're all done with this item, right? So we can go back to public comment for the prior item, which was the dismissal of Mary Lucy. Any public comment on that?
And if you'd like to give public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see any raised hands.
No raised hands. So let's continue with our next item, which is old business. And we got the candidate forum as the first item.
Well, I think, I don't know how many of you watched the forum.
No, wait a minute.
Yes.
Excuse me. I had suggested the two items, and I don't see them. In the first version of the agenda, they were in there, but now they're not here.
They will be addressed, Lucia, on the ODSVRA Coastal Commission. Yeah, they will be addressed.
Oh, at the OBCA, yes. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So also be mindful, we're at 6:59 now, and I think we agreed we'd go till 7, or we would have to agree to move forward. So keep that in mind. So the forum happened. It was it was really a mess, you know, in terms of us signing the contract with the League of Women Voters. And after we signed it, then they came in and put a fiscal requirement on it, and wanting the participants to pay, which created a whole mess. And ultimately, we put our foot down and said, no, we can't do this anymore. And we signed a contract with you. There was no money mentioned or anything. And what you're asking us to do is inappropriate and probably illegal and puts everybody in an awkward situation. And to their credit, the league said, we hear you, we understand, and we're gonna pay for it ourselves, and the thing will go on, and we'll just take on the sponsorship of it. And so they did that. I've heard some complaints about, you know, that certain questions didn't come up, and then innuendos about people knowing what the questions were or not. But I can assure you that nobody knew what questions the League of Women Voters were going to select. A number of people, they invited everybody to submit questions. Our advisory council planning group submitted a list of extremely relevant questions, and they, which were, you know, very generic to the work of OCSD, which was the goal of having questions about their authority. You know, I wish there were some questions in there that weren't asked, and I know other people did as well, but that was totally within the control of the League of Women Voters. And I think the problem is that they probably don't know that much about Oceano and did not reach out to anybody. But we did, our council did what we could to give them some good suggestions. And I mean, also, I think there was a appreciation. I understand that there were about 50 people in the audience on that. So that's all I have to say about the forum.
Chair Villa.
Yes.
3 things. First, Ms. Drury has her hand up. Second, we just lost Lucia again. And here I'm admitting her again. She just came back. And we are after 7 p.m. now, so we would need a motion to extend the meeting by another 15 minutes. I will need to leave in 15 minutes, so I'm not in favor of extending it beyond that.
So I motion we extend it for another 15 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No. I got to say that we're in a consistent pattern now of always extending our meetings past an hour and a half. And I think we really need to do a better job of managing our time so that we're not always running over like this.
Okay, so next item is downsizing PO box. I think we decided not to till afterwards. So
right,
we're going to start working on that again.
Yeah, and that's just a matter of Aline and I getting together and going to the post office together and then having lunch someplace in Oceano.
And we'll do that this week.
Okay, and I'll take lunch. Okay.
Okay, then we have the cannabis tax income. I haven't done much on that, so we'll skip that one.
Well,
the ODSVRA.
The website. I'm sorry, go on.
Excuse me?
I said finance the website with that cannabis tax.
I would love to have that cannabis tax. Next, we'll have the ODSVRA Coastal Commission, and I think Lucia is our main lady on that.
Yes. Well, I also report for the Oceano Beach Community Association. Basically, I sent you 2 letters that I would like the council to send out. One, let me tell you that the Coastal Commission, there is a big debate right now, a historical battle between, it is a battle between, or let's say conflict, Coastal Commission, the Natural Resource Agencies, and the governor even, and Oceano is at the very focus of this. And I think we have the right and the duty to be in this debate. And so is the county, even though the county decided not to be part of it for whatever reasons. So, and since we already decided, in my opinion, that anything that has to do with the welfare of Oceano needs to be addressed, because we are advocates for Oceano. The first one that I would like to see is that the council writes to, again, to the health officer, and to again plead that the gates of the big parking, of the big day use and camping is not yet open because of COVID concerns. Because State Parks wants to reopen next month in about 3 weeks. So I sent you, if you remember, I've been trying to do this for months, and then it was taken off the agenda because it wasn't important back then because it was closed. But now it's important because they want to reopen it, and I think we still are in a pandemic emergency. So I take that out again from the ground. I'm bearing that letter and say we need to send it. Now, do you have it in front of you?
Excuse me, Chair Villa, I think one of the 3 things that I mentioned a few minutes ago got missed, which is that Ms. Jury has her hand up still. I believe she wanted to say something on the last item.
Go ahead, Miss. Go ahead, April.
I prefer April, thank you. Yeah, I was hoping that the League of Women Voters agenda item had come with a report, or that we agree that we need to make a report on that process so that we're not slapped with a fish in our face on the eve of a forum with information or facts that we knew nothing about, because now we know something. We can make a report for 2 years from now when we go through this process. That's my request.
Okay.
This is why the meeting lasts so long. I don't know what else to say. Honest to God.
Okay, so did everybody read the letter I sent out?
I did.
I did.
Okay, and what do you think, that we should send it?
I'm gonna raise my hand again.
Go ahead, April.
I would like to understand if this committee's goal is to make a stand on the dunes, because if this committee wants to make a stand on the dunes, I am uncomfortable, because I do not believe that's the role of the AOC or OAC, excuse me. So that may be a discussion for another day, but as long as we talk about a official position of the OAC on the dunes, I'm not comfortable with that. And I want that stated clearly and emphatically.
Anybody else want to say anything?
I agree with April.
So which letter are you talking about, Lucia? I've got like 3 emails from you.
This is not about taking any position on the dunes. This is about protecting Oceano.
Which letter?
We went through this already. Whatever you think my long-term agenda is and what my thinking is, these are my words. This is about protecting Oceano from crowds of people who come here with COVID. It has nothing to do with the dunes, okay?
That's why I'm asking for clarification.
Whatever you think I'm thinking. Don't process my thinking. Just state what I'm telling you.
So specifically, this is your letter about COVID-19
Yes.
issues.
I think it is unsafe to open a campground that sees thousands of people when most of these people come from places where COVID pandemic is still raging, and that it's absolutely unsafe. That's all.
All right. So we would need a motion.
Yes.
I have some comments on the letter. And maybe we need, since we've only got a few minutes left, we need to circulate this offline. But one key concern that I have about state parks has said that they would reopen in a limited capacity. They said that at the Coastal Commission meeting. Right now, they don't staff round the clock and they leave the gates open so anybody can drive in and out. So they don't have any way of controlling the capacity. So that's something that I believe needs to be in any letter to the county. Is like, if State Parks is saying we're going to make sure we limit the capacity, or it's only for day use or anything like that, unless they will staff it and make sure that that happens, you know, their current operating model will not allow that to be what actually happens. So I think it's important to say that.
Okay, so would you add that to the letter? So what
Yeah.
is
Well,
that?
I think we need to, a motion that we're going to write a letter, and that you and whoever wants to help out with the letter, you know, participate, and then circulate it so that everybody sees the letter and then send it.
So wait a minute, what's your motion? That somebody writes a different letter, a letter?
Well, you have to write an updated letter. It has to be updated.
So Cynthia's raised the issue of how would that be enforced? And it kind of presumes that they are going to open with limited stuff. And so it sounds like the letter would be, on the one hand, we prefer that you not open at all. And if you are going to open on a limited basis, you need to have enforcement of limited use and control of human traffic. I mean, those aren't maybe the words we use, but that sounds like the issues that are being framed.
I believe we just lost Lucia again.
Okay. So and I think, April, what you bring up is, you know, a valid question. And I think that it's, I feel very differently about it. I think it's totally in the purview of the Oceano Advisory Council. You know, we're the only people that have the charge to do something like that, not OCSD.
Right. I know it's not
Lucia's back, and I've just admitted her again.
So I do agree that taking a stand against COVID with the COVID concern, absolutely support that 100%.
Okay.
But a long term, I'm uncomfortable in this agency being a part of that.
If not us, who?
I personally don't consider the dune access part of the OAC. That's my personal opinion. And as a person who's on the committee, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Is Lucia back?
I don't see her. We have protect the dunes, we have whatever all these different agencies are. There are a lot. And I support them personally.
I think Lucia is having trouble. She might be back now. You're still muted, Lucia.
I apologize, everyone. My Chromebook doesn't get along with my router. You know, I'm sorry.
You have a couple of minutes, Lucia, so come on.
I can't use Zoom on my Chromebook. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, just do whatever. I'm just forget it.
I think you missed the fact that we are in agreement that protecting our community from outsiders who don't seem to take COVID as seriously as we do, that's very valid. Absolutely.
Okay, so is anybody gonna write a short letter and circulate it quickly so that we can, within the week?
I'm trying to win an office in a campaign, so I literally have zero time.
Okay.
I think we have some time because the park's going to be closed through November 8th at least. But it should be soon.
It should be sooner so that
I don't have time to write it. You've already made a good start. I think it just needs a little, updates.
I'll work with you on it, Lucia.
And I will too. I will help also, Lucia. I sent Dr. Bornstein an email, which you probably seen, with my concerns maybe a month ago. And I just update it and we'll add it. And also Cynthia's recommendation.
Okay, so see, how about you, Alina? You send the letter that you sent personally, send
I
it to
sent
all
an
of
email.
us.
Yes, I can do that. And we can work at like a committee, Charles, you and I.
So I'm gonna need to leave in
Okay.
like now. So do we need a motion to send a letter?
Yes,
I think for formality, yes.
I motion that we write a letter to address this issue, and that Lucia, Aline, and Charles work on it.
And circulate it to the other council members.
Yes.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Somebody,
those in favor? Aye.
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 Sorry, who was the second on that?
Charles seconded, I think.
Charles second? Okay. And I will need to leave now. So if you want to keep going, I can leave the meeting open and just come back later. But
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Maybe if somebody could text me when you're done,
Okay.
then I'll have an endpoint. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia.
So shall I move we extend another 14 minutes?
So oddly specific.
Okay.
To 7:30.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're at the, do we want public comment? Is anyone there with public comment for this last item? Do we see any raised hands? I can't see anything on my
No,
phone.
there's
I
none.
do not see any raised hands.
Okay, so being there's no comment, next one is curb gutter sidewalk committee. Is there
Nothing
anything?
there. No.
Vacation rental density.
Still
For-
a huge issue for all the beach communities at San Luis Obispo. We're not doing anything about it. We talked about a moratorium on new vacation rentals east and north of Highway 1. But that's all we've done is talking about it. So just kick that down the road, keep it on the agenda.
Okay,
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
sure.
If any of those vacation rentals are getting applications under the ADU law, they legally cannot rent less than 30 days.
Uh-huh.
And so the county needs to reinforce that. If anybody is putting in for ADU applications for vacation rentals, which they're not going to call them vacation rentals, they have to rent them for more than 30 days. Nothing less than 30 days.
Good point. Thank you.
Is that 30 consecutive days?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, no. Well, they're not going to do that.
but that's why it's up to the county to make sure that vacation rentals are not ADU permitted.
Okay.
This housing crisis and ADUs coming out of this housing crisis is for people who live here, not people who are vacationing here, not ways of people making extra money. It's about renting to people who need housing.
Yes.
Completely agree, Mary Lucy.
Yes, totally.
And if you want to double check that, you can look at AB 881, SB 68. There are numerous, and it all states the same. Nothing less than 30 days.
Thank you, Mary Lucy. Anybody else want to discuss this item?
No, thank you for your expertise on this, Mary Lucy. I really appreciate it, truly.
And I would ask that we continually go back and check the county to make sure they're doing that. And I'll be happy to check, you know, as much as legally I can.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we're done with that. Any public comment on this item? I can't see any raised hands.
No raised hands that I see.
Okay. So we'll go to the next item, 7 council members and officer reports, treasurer report by Charles.
Pure Avenue parking.
Oh, the main, yes,
That's very important.
exactly. Sorry, I missed that one. Pure Avenue parking, the response to the county.
So I wanted to ask April, did you see, have you reviewed the comments that I know at least Lucia and I had comments on it.
I did at the beginning, and then when there was talk that there was going to be basically a subcommittee meeting of some sort, no one gave me any information of what time it was going to happen, what day it was going to happen. I was in the valley because my dog was suddenly ill, and I asked, hey, when is this going to be so I can attend if we're doing it? And I never heard another word. So I've just not even gotten involved in, I don't even know what's going on at this point.
Come on, that's not true. I sent out the response as a
I think that the meeting that I was told was going to happen, I never got information about the meeting.
The meeting hasn't
I
happened.
never knew that. And so I just have been waiting all this time to find out the outcome of a meeting that I didn't know about, and now apparently didn't happen.
We didn't do any meeting. We just added the comments and that was it.
I only know what I'm told.
Okay. So
I do remember reaching out to April, and I do remember her saying something in an email or something about an emergency.
I did have an emergency in the valley.
Oh, okay. So anyway, there is a document now with comments, some good comments.
Good.
So we need a person now. I even took all the comments and put them on another doc, and I sent it out too.
Okay.
But then I said they don't really make any sense away from the original response. So we can't. I think we need to go back and address each response with the comments.
Okay.
Do you want to do that, April, or you want someone else to do it?
I can't do it today, but I will make an effort to do that. And do we want it done?
I can help you. I can help you if you. Okay.
Do you want to give it a time deadline so that we don't let it pass too much longer?
Well, how about meeting next week?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm pretty much available. I have Wednesdays and Fridays in morning with a client. But I could make effort, or I can just say, hey, I can't do it at 10. I could do it at 2 or whatever.
Okay, well, so is it going to be a meeting with you and I and Lucia?
We can, whatever works for you guys.
Whoever wants to come. Alina, you had some.
Yeah. We all made comments that we want incorporated, but we wanted you to kind of have input because it was your letter.
Yeah.
But we did make comments on the
And
Well,
I did.
Go ahead, Lucia.
I did take all the comments, Aline, and I pasted them into the document, so they're in there. So I think, listen, April, you when you are ready, that you have the draft,
right?
Send it to the whole council and invite everybody to participate. So we don't keep.
What I'll do. That's my homework. I'll get it ready. I'll go over everything,
and then say
all the comments, kind of re-massage the letter for presentation again, and then we'll have one final look at.
I would say, mid next week. Good.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Done and done.
Please keep in mind we're coming very, very close to a very hostile election.
Yeah, we are. Whew.
Okay. Are we done discussing this item?
Public comments?
We done discussing, right? Any public comment? Any raised hands?
I see none.
Okay. And then we can go to treasury report, Charles.
Okay, currently we have $785 in our account with Cesslock, and that is not changed since last month. And I anticipate a small savings when we downsize the post office box. I will begin researching a grant proposal to the county to get more money for our advisory council. This is something that Jennifer did in the past, and we've received grants of around $2,000. So I'll contact my dear friend Lynn Compton and see what she has to say about that.
Good luck.
Okay. Are you done, Charles?
I'm done.
Any public comment on his report? Maybe I should wait till all the reports. Oceano Beach Community Association, Lucia?
I did my report. We,
Okay.
that's all.
So now it's my turn for the LCSD, and we met yesterday. We held the hearing, and the water rate increase was approved. We needed, I believe it was 1,000, I wrote it down somewhere, 1,345 valid protests, which we only got 37 valid ones. So it was approved legally yesterday at the OCSD meeting. And that was just the main of the meeting. So that's all I have to report.
I didn't understand. You received 1,500 and only 30 were legal?
Okay, we needed 1,345 valid protests.
Oh,
Valid. And we only received.
The OCSD never told you what it took to be a valid protest. They never gave you that instruction.
No, but they did state it yesterday, and I wrote it down. 1,345 valid.
No, I mean what it took to be on a protest letter to be considered valid. The OCSD never instructed the.
We received, I think it was August the 13th was the only notification that we received, and it gave instruction as to, it stated the information why we needed a rate increase, how much it was going to be.
What to put in the letter to make it a valid protest.
No, it didn't give specifics on that, but
so when
no,
people
you were
said
right
a
on
valid
that.
protest, they didn't know what it took to be a valid protest, and the OCSD feels okay with the decision to not inform the public of what it takes to create a valid protest. So that's why we only have 37.
Maybe I can't speak for the public, but it was brought up to our attorney, and he did state that it was the notice and everything was legally valid. So
yep.
Legally it was. Could we do more, go above and beyond, even doing bilingual and a specific public hearing notice just for the date? Yes, we could do that. But legally everything was done as the state requires.
Like the county, when they say we do the minimum required because that's all required, that's all that is required of us. That's what the OCSD said to us last night. They did the minimum required, and with that, they don't have to tell us what it takes to be a valid protest letter. So I'm just adding that. That's all I have.
Yeah, so it was 37 valid, and they did have a lot of invalid ones, so, but they were invalid. But everyone, we did ask to see if everyone who put in who returned an invalid protest thinking it was valid, they all did get a contact back. They contacted them back, either by phone or email, whatever they did. They contacted these individuals and told them how to do it, make it right. So it wasn't like
one in, and I was never contacted.
Aileen.
Okay. Yes.
Aileen, you hear me?
Yes.
I think it's one protest letter per residence, not like 1,000 from one or two people. I don't think that was considered legal, much less ethical.
I'm not saying it was, okay, I'm not saying anything was, I'm saying there was 37 valid, and I just leave it at that. We
Right.
did not have the 1345 valid protest letters.
Because
So
we
it
never
passed.
instructed
So
the
we'll just leave it at that, and
how to make it
let's
happen.
move on. I'll
Absolutely.
move on. Any
Well,
discussion?
I actually have a question for the OCSD rep.
Excuse me?
I have a question for the OCSD rep.
Which is myself, yes?
I just wanted to make sure that this would be the proper time to ask this question.
I don't know.
Has the discussion of the periwinkle purple building on the agenda? The old fire station?
Oh, it's on the agenda now, thanks to Lucia.
Yeah.
So it's on the agenda, the color of that building?
No.
You don't like the color, I take it?
A lot of people don't like the color.
Okay. The color is specifically not on the agenda. The discussion of the firehouse building and it's, you know, making it, beautifying it is on the future agendas.
Thank
It
you.
is. Okay.
And it will
I'm
be
done with my report. Are we done with this topic?
I don't see any hands
Item.
raised.
Okay. Any public comment on any of these reports?
I don't see anybody trying to get involved.
I'm trying to keep, I think we're 1 minute over. So do I have anyone motion that wants to motion to adjourn?
So we're not getting to future agenda items.
Yeah, well, okay, I thought we discussed the future agenda items, but do we have any other future agenda items?
I wanted to bring up the fact that the signs on 22nd Street, I sent everybody a report with pictures. I was hoping that that would be on a future agenda item.
We did see that.
You're
But
right.
we're not talking about it, so that's why I'm bringing it up. And
Yeah.
then I would like to discuss Wi-Fi for Oceano Halcyon students like Grover and AG got, and that Napomo's about to get, and shockingly, Oceano's not even on the radar to help our local students with Wi-Fi connection. So I'd like that to be on a future agenda item. And I'd also like Central Coast Blue to be on a future agenda item because that will impact our
Yes.
residents that we are supposed to be representing. So,
I agree.
Yes, Lucia?
Well, the Coastal Central Blue was on our agenda when the council approved the project, even though I had reservations. But I don't think there is anything we can do now. The project has been appealed by Jeff Edwards, as we said, as he told us. I don't think at this point the council can do anything about it.
Anybody else want to say anything?
I had reservations. I didn't want that well there.
You were the only one that objected, and you had that on the record. I remember that. Okay, so your suggestions, April, will be considered and placed on future item, you know. So anybody else? Can I have someone motion to adjourn? Because we're over like 3 or 4 minutes.
All right.
did nothing.
Errare humanum est, perseverare diabolicum.
Uh,
That's Latin.
I didn't think so. I'm like, I haven't drank that much.
So you motion to adjourn. Okay, so I second. All those in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
Aye.
I think there's only
Bye.
3 of us left. I'll try
Hi,
to-
girls, boys and girls. Goodbye. It was wonderful to see you all. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Mary
Bye,
Lucy, even though
everyone.
I
Bye,
can't
Mary.
see you.
Hope you feel better. Bye.
I think she left without telling us. She got tired. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Call Julie Tacker.